Caution, I'm a hack. I learned everything I know from a guy leaned against a shade tree, having a drink and smoking a cigarette. Hey, welcome back. Last video, we painted the engine bay in the IROC. That looks better. So now we got to get this engine prepped. This is the second engine I bought for this car. The first one we bought a 5.3. If you haven't seen this, had a spun main bearing, wasn't any good. So this is take two, so to speak. Hopefully this one's better. I bought an LQ9 this time. It's got 130,000 miles on it. Came out of an 06 or 05 Escalade. They've been side swapped. I saw pictures of it. It's a really clean truck. So hopefully it's in good shape. We don't know yet. We'll find out. We're going to get it painted up and cleaned up. And there's a lot of stuff on this engine that we won't use. Some stuff we will use. We'll see how that goes. But we're going to get to work on that. I've got 25 days before I leave to go on a trip from East Tennessee to Louisiana. And then from Louisiana back to Memphis, Tennessee. And then on power tour and then back home. So tick tock, I can hear it. Anyways, let's see if we can get this thing tore down and see how it looks. All right, so what's underneath the pan? Look at this. That screen is perfectly clean. It doesn't even have varnish built up on it. Man. Well, no surprise to me at all. The inside of this thing looks amazing. So I'm very pleased with how it looks. Yeah, so I think the next thing I'm going to do is pull the flywheel off. And I don't know. We'll figure out what we're going to do from there. Pull the oil pump off. We've got it lined up. Now we're going to pull the cam sprocket off. We'll get all this off. And I think you have to use a 3-jaw puller to get this off. I'm not sure, but if so, we got one. No big deal. It's amazing how good this motor looks. I'm so happy with it. Well, you saw the 3-jaw puller. I tried and tried. I couldn't get anywhere with that, so went to Harbor Freight and got a gear removal tool. I don't know. I've never had one. We'll see if this will pull this off here right quick. We'll check it out and see what happens. Well, it's the next day. Yesterday, I was exhausted. Went and got the kids, did some stuff, whatever. Back on it today. I spent half the day yesterday driving around, and days like that just really wear on me because I know that I should be working and getting all this stuff ready. So anyways, let me show you what I've, I don't know, cobbled together is the best way to explain it. We're going to give it a shot. Don't even know if it'll work yet. So this is part of this gear puller I bought yesterday out of that set. So it's got like a H-beam, screw-in bolt, and then these little things have legs on them that go behind the gear, but they wanted to spread apart, so I just took a pair of locking pliers for welding, clamped them on there so they can't spread apart, and yeah, we'll see if I run that in, if that pops off or not. Let's find out. There we go. Look at that. I just needed some rest yesterday. I couldn't think. Cam's still not here. We're still waiting. But we're going to replace this cam plate while we're in it. It has a seal on the back side of it. Well, let me get something to pry it off with. Bring anything over. Here we go. Has this rubber seal, or it's actually probably Teflon, on the back, and that's an oil passage. So we just want to make sure that that's good and sealed off, so we keep oil pressure. And yeah, we have one, so we're just going to throw it on. When we change the cam, we won't have to replace that later. And here's our Velcro gasket. So the other one, you couldn't tell, but that ridge was completely smashed to the point it'll never come back. So it was it's probably been okay for a while, but we're in it. We're right here. Now's a good time to replace it. You'll notice that these use a tapered style fastener. The other ones, it's just, they do the same job, but they're just different. These already come with Loctite on them, so they're ready to go. And I think 18 foot-pounds is what GM suggests. I bought 3 torque wrenches yesterday. I went to buy one, I ended up getting 3. And the reason I ended up getting 3 was the 2 bigger ones that I bought were half off at Lowe's, and I was like, you know what? I've been wanting to buy a torque wrench for a long time, so at half off, I just couldn't turn it down. Just going to run these in, not tighten them up, just snug them up, just get them close. This one also doesn't go to 18 foot-pounds, but it does go to 20. Guess what? That's good enough. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've seen people beat on these with a hammer. I'm not real keen on that because you're beating against that thrust bearing and all the main bearings when you're doing that. So I've actually got an installer. So let's see if we can't make this work. I did not have a wrench big enough to fit that, so I got the nut lathe out. It should work just fine. Stand up so I can watch it. There we go. That should have it. There we go. Put it back exactly like it was. There's some people out there that actually know how to set this up. I'm probably not that guy. I can just put it back like it was. That's best I understand. There's a dot here and a dot here. They need to be in line. And then the cam has a dowel pin, and the dowel pin is supposed to be pointed at the number 1 cylinder. Regardless, it's like it used to be, so it doesn't matter. I do believe these are also 18 foot-pounds. Next, on to more debate. I've heard several ways about putting the oil pump on. I've done quite a bit of research. Some people will say put it on, leave the 4 outer bolts loose, give it a revolution, tighten the outer bolts, it's good. Other people say use 3 or 4 20,000 shims around the outer ring. I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is the outer ring, this portion here. And you put one there, there, and there. Or there, 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 and there. And that keeps it exactly centered, right? So we're going to try yet a different route where I saw a guy use a larger shim at the top and one at the bottom. And we'll see if that works. We'll see. I don't know. I don't even know if there's enough room for that. So, but we'll see in just a minute. All right, so I've got a feeler gauge in here. It bridges both of those. And then one down here. These are 0.0015 is the size. And I've got them bottomed out. There's a little bit sticking out, so you can pull them out still. And that should center up this outer part with the inner part with the cam or with the crank and the housing. All that should be centered. And from what I understand, you're probably never going to have a problem unless you're turning really, really high RPMs or really, really large engine combinations, but we ain't doing either. But you know what we are doing? We are in this to learn, or I am, and I thought we'd just go ahead and do it. So there's 1. 2. 3. 4. And then just pull your shims back out. And we should be perfectly centered. I may have to get a pair of needle nose pliers to get that because these gloves are slick. Oh, I got it. There we go. Now we just got to put the cover back on it and we'll get that tightened. This is done. All right, so here's the next step I'm going to do. Is it the right step? I don't know, but it's what we're going to do anyways. Stick this bolt back in. We're going to give her some assembly lube. I promise it won't hurt. I can't imagine how it could. We are just going to give her just a little in each little orifice. A little bit right here. A little bit right there. Now we're going to turn it over and then give the spots we didn't get a little bit. Let's see if I can do this without moving your all stand. Because I don't have the spark plugs out. Yeah, it's not working. Somewhere around there, maybe a little more. Yeah, drop right there too. Go ahead and turn her over some more. We'll kind of wipe it down good and be all right with it. I don't even know if that's necessary, but I figured it couldn't hurt. The hardware I'm getting ready to use did not come with this pump. The hardware that came with this pump, I stripped 2 of the bolts out trying to get it off, and it was my fault. It was not theirs. But this is the only hardware I could find in the county I live in, and it's stainless steel, so it's actually a harder grade than it came with. I don't know if that makes any difference, but it's what it is. So we're gonna put a little Loctite on all of them. That one got way too much. All right, let's talk about torque specs. 106 inch-pounds. Let me say it again. 106 inch-pounds. And there we have it. Take that bolt back out and we're ready to clean up and put a cover back on the front of this thing. Got a carbide tipped scraper. We're just going to go through, scrape all the surfaces down. All right, folks, so I took the cover outside, I cleaned it off, and got our new gasket installed. We'll get it all lined up. Now, I bought this alignment tool It goes on the crank. Bought this alignment tool that don't fit the crank. I'm glad I got that. Yeah, let me see what else was in that kit. Here we are, we're back at it. So here's what's up. You have to center this housing up over the cranks now. I don't know what's up with the one I bought, but it's not going to work. It doesn't fit over the crank. So I went to my buddy Troy's and I borrowed his. Thank you, Troy, for letting me borrow this. And now it just slides right on, centers it up, puts it where it's supposed to be. You can't really, I mean, you could move it, but you don't need to. And we're just going to run these down to where they're touching, and then we'll tighten them down. They're also GM's favorite 18 foot-pounds. And that should slide right out, no problems, and slide back in with no problems. It does. It's exactly what we wanted from it. By the way, you can put it in both ways. I don't know that it makes a hill of beans difference. Now, you get a hammer, get this seal put in. And there we go, gentle. You ain't got to be hard with it, just gentle. I know it's going to be tough for y'all to see, but we're going to put a rear main seal on this thing. Alright, so the next thing we're going to change is the barbell, which is located right there. The one that's in there is plastic. We're going to try to drill it, pull it out, and see if we can get this one in. All right, we drilled a hole in at an angle because that's the best I can do. Let's see if I can get it out. And that's just a sheetrock screw that I just happened to have laying around. Oh yeah, that worked. There we go, we got it out. See, there's an O-ring on that. You got to change those. This one's not terrible, but they get brittle. This one's pretty brittle. But if you're into it, that's the time to change it. I'm putting a metal one in because that's just what I bought. I don't know if there's any real difference. There we go. Whoop, almost put it in backwards. Seal goes at the back. Just like that, it's in. So unlike the front, since this seal is already in, from all the research I can do, they say leave the seal in it, and the seal will line it up on this and basically put all the bolts in and tighten it down. But it needs to be flush at the top. Got them all ran in. Guess what? 18 foot-pounds. Good as ever. Now that's all taken care of, maybe we'll put the oil pan on, windage tray and oil pan. I have a brand new one for it, so let me go grab that and see if we can't get it all put together too. Alright, so this is an LS1 oil pan kit that I ordered from, I don't remember. I think it was Rock Auto. It comes with a windage tray. Windage tray will be right here. This little notch indicates where the pickup or the dipstick tube comes through, so we know where that goes. Then here's the oil pickup. Let's see if I can get it to seat. I got some stuff in my hand. Just set that down. I put a little assembly lube on it, but oil or anything on that O-ring will be fine. The girdle needs to move over just a little, so I just have to get a screwdriver so I get it lined up, just like it's supposed to be. Let's see if that'll tighten up. If I don't drop this bolt. Probably should have done this before we put this front cover on. That would have been a smart move. But like I told you before, I'm a hack. I'm gonna pull that front cover off and tighten those up properly. There's 106 inch-pounds as well. I'm betting we're probably already there on the top one, but not the bottom one. Now, that doesn't feel good. I'm going to pull this back apart. Those are barely catching the top two threads. Let me show you. I'm not sure if you'll be able to tell or not, but it was just barely catching that top couple of threads, and it actually stripped those out. So there's plenty of threads left in those. But that's going to stop us for today because I do not have any hardware that's longer than that. And it needs to be significantly longer. So yeah, I'll go get some hardware tomorrow. We'll pick back up where we're at here and keep going. All right, this morning I went out and got us some longer bolts. Let's see if we can't get this thing finished up. I ain't gonna lie. It needs to be moving on. There's that one. I don't like how this side has plenty of clearance. It's not going to hit anything. This side looks like it may be just a little too long. I actually bought several different bolts sizes. I'm going to pull this one back out. I don't like it. And we're going to put one that's just a little bit shorter in it. Don't be afraid to redo things when you're building a motor or building anything. Doing it right the first time is often key. And sometimes you don't know what's right or wrong. You just have to do the best you can. But let's try this one. There it is. Yep, I like them both. Let's get that windage tray bolted in now. All right, the windage tray bolts go to 28 foot-pounds. And I've run them all down except this one. And the reason why I didn't run it all the way down yet is because it's hard to get to these two bolts if you do, or if I do. Run it all the way down. All right, oil pan gasket and stuff on. I'm going to put just a dab of right stuff on all these corners. And I know that doesn't call for it, and it's probably not necessary, but it's what I feel like I want to do, so I'm going to do it. Once again, 18 foot-pounds. Rear two bolts, 106 inch-pounds. Go. All right, so I spared y'all the agony of me cleaning this and taping it up. So here's what we're going to do. The aluminum on this thing looks like just absolute garbage, as all aluminum does after it gets some age on it. I'm going to shut the garage door right quick. So I taped off all the mating surfaces for the heads. I'm going to spray the heads silver. I'm going to spray the pan silver, and maybe even the timing cover. I haven't decided. But and then we'll put some actual block paint on it for the rest. But I just don't like the way it looks, so we're going to paint it. second coat. Well, I got her all taped up here. We're gonna shoot some color on it. Anybody that's curious, we're going Chevrolet Motor Orange. I think it'll look good against all the black in there because there's gonna be a lot of black under the hood. So maybe it'll scream, maybe it won't. Maybe it's too much, maybe it's not. Maybe you hate it, maybe you don't. My block's gonna be Chevrolet Motor Orange this time. So we are currently racing against a storm that's coming in. I went ahead and shot another coat because the thunder is getting louder, and I'm gonna roll it inside and we'll untape it in there here after it dries just a little bit. Well, the sun was peeking out, so I thought I'd bring her out here and give you all a good shot in the sunlight. I'm happy with it, so that's the most important part. Can't wait to get this bad boy sitting in there. I did decide to paint that front cover orange instead of silver, and yeah. You hear the thunder rolling back there. Hey, listen, I know it's been a long video. I really appreciate y'all watching. If you've hung around this long, I really, really appreciate you. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button if you would, please. Next week, we'll try to get the CD009 cut up, the Collins adapter on it, and get it ready to rock and install it on this engine. And then we'll see if we can't get the whole thing inside the car. That's my goal. So thanks for watching. Hit that thumbs up button, please. And if you're not subscribed, I really would appreciate it. See y'all on the next one.